Welcome to our Week 1 show. This is ChesCo Gridiron Insiders. We have highlights from Chester County, non-league matchups, and exclusive game day interviews featuring Great Valley head coach Jeff Martin and Oxford's Mike Means.
This week, we will have 2 games of the week, with Northern Lebanon traveling down to Oxford and Great Valley visiting Sun Valley. EJ and myself will break down last week's Great Valley-Oxford matchup from an offensive and defensive standpoint.
And finally, we have our Week 1 predictions as all 3 insiders finish the week 6-3. So tune into the show. It's going to be one you're definitely going to want to see.
Okay, we're going to start the highlight package this week, heading up to Crawford Stadium in Lansdale for a big battle between Downingtown East and North Penn. Let's pick up the game right here in the middle of the first quarter. The Cougars' drive stalled inside a 10-yard line due to a holding penalty, and Ryan Hornack takes a chip shot field goal. Cougars up 3-0 in the first period. Moving to the beginning of the second quarter, North Penn has the ball 4th and 2 on the Downingtown East 23-yard line. North Penn is going to attempt sending running back Christian Johns Wallace up the middle, and he's stuffed by Abraham Sissoy and Ryan McGowan, short of a first down. This is where things begin to get a little bit crazy. It's 7-3 North Penn, but the Cougars are driving deep into Knights territory. Quarterback Mason Ippolito hits Nick Keenan off of a counter bootleg pass for a Cougar TD. Great throw and catch as Keenan gets his feet down inbounds. East now up 10-7 with only 1:25 left in the half. With just 25 seconds left in the half, North Penn quarterback Matt Buxer directs the Knights on an 83-yard drive on 5 plays with no timeouts to regain the lead 14-10 before the half. The score comes as Buxer hits Aiden Eves on a back shoulder fade here to take the lead 14-10 going into the intermission. Real nice catch there. With 2:04 left in the third period, Mason Ippolito does it again on another counter bootleg pass. It's coming up here. This time he hits tight end Brian Fuchs for the score. Another nice play by the Cougar offense. With the Knights trailing 17-14 with 8:10 left in the fourth period, North Penn running back Christian Johns Wallace takes it to pay dirt here, and North Penn jumps back on top 17-14. Breaks a tackle there, and he's in for the score. After a Mason Ippolito interception, North Penn quarterback Buxer scampers in himself this time on a naked bootleg to push the lead to 28-17 with just 3:53 remaining in the fourth period. Okay, however, Downingtown East is not through yet. This time, Ippolito throws his third touchdown of the night down the seam on a 35-yard touchdown pass. Coming up here, it's good protection. Beautiful throw, touchdown. However, Downingtown East's Ryan Hornack onside kick is recovered by number 7, Aiden Ives, and the Cougars fall to 0-1 on the season in a tough loss to North Penn. In our next contest, Warwick visits Avero. No scoring in the first quarter. We pick it up here in the second as Warwick field goal kicker drives home a 23-yarder to give the visitors a 3-0 lead. We're going to go all the way to the fourth quarter right now. Still 3-0 Warwick. Red Devil quarterback Frank Hogerworth hooks up with number 10 Sebastian Binstead on a 54-yard smash route, and Avero takes a 6-3 lead in the fourth period. Very nice play there by the Red Devils. Minutes later, though, Warwick is back to punt, and the punter takes a knee catching the punt. The same thing happened earlier in the first half. However, Avongrove failed to capitalize on the miscue that time. However, this time, Hogerworth calls his own number on an elusive run, a quarterback buck sweep. Here it is. Hogerworth scores, and Avongrove wins their home opener 12-3. Congratulations to Coach Coffey and the Red Devils as they move to 1-0. Okay, our highlight package is going to take us to Westchester East as they were hosting Academy Park in a Week 0 matchup First quarter, first Viking possession. East is on the Academy Park 15-yard line. Here's the snap. DeRosa gives the ball to Fenton Culp. He takes the split handoff 15 yards to pay dirt. Vikings up early, 7-0 on Academy Park. Then it's early on in the second period here. Westchester East in punt formation. And what do you see what happens here? They run a fake punt from their own 30-yard line. Head coach Scott Stephen is being very aggressive in the opener. Oh, those tricky Vikings. We move on to late in the third quarter when quarterback Nate DeRosa gets the signal, comes under center, backs up into the gun, and hits Kyle Keefe on a quick hitch. Keefe turns this quick hitch into a 64-yard touchdown by making several night defenders miss. 14-0 Westchester East. Now we're into the fourth period. Westchester East is holding a 14-point lead, but Academy Park is driving. They elect to go for it on 4th and 3 here. They run a jet sweep, and a plethora of Viking defenders led by Kyle Keefe and Justin Williams are there to halt the Academy Park drive. Okay, 3rd and 1, and Westchester East is just trying to get a first down and put the game away and kill the clock. Fenton Culp, though, has other ideas. Takes a split handoff and rumbles 61 yards for a Viking touchdown that puts the game away. Westchester East moves to 1-0 on the season with a convincing 20-0 win over Academy Park. Okay, next we check in on Upper Darby as the Royals are hosting Bob Bryce and the Westchester Henderson Warriors. Let's pick the game up mid-first with Upper Darby driving deep into Henderson territory. Okay, here's the snap. And the Upper Darby ball carrier takes an ISO G lead 11 yards into the end zone for an early 8-0 lead as the Royals convert a 2-point conversion. Upper Darby up early. On the next Royals series, Upper Darby is trying to convert a 4th and 13 on this play. Back to pass. And they get it on a nice square up pattern run by number 7. Upper Darby marches all the way down to the Henderson 1 and uses a power 1 package and punches this counter into the end zone. There's a touchdown. And just like that, Upper Darby is up 14-0 as this time the 2-point conversion try failed. All right, after the ensuing kickoff, the Warriors have the ball, and Brady Collins wastes no time getting Henderson back to within 1 score. Here's Collins, and you'll see he outruns 6 Royal defenders to pay dirt on a 69-yard TD scamper. The Royals' lead is cut to 14-7 here. Okay, with time running out in the second quarter, Jen C.C. Flan Tate hits a 23-yarder to pull Henderson within 4, 14-10 going into the half. Okay, after both teams failed to score in the third quarter, Upper Darby goes to their Wildcat package. Number 2, the Wildcat quarterback breaks multiple Henderson tackles on this play. Which you'll see here. Breaks 1, 2, 3, 4 tackles and goes 32 yards for a Royal touchdown to make the score Upper Darby 20, Henderson 10. Henderson would add another field goal late in the fourth. However, they fail to recover the onside kick. And Upper Darby hangs on 20-13. Next is our feature game of the week between Coatesville and Garnet Valley. Unfortunately, the Red Raiders couldn't have started the game off any worse. After a quick 3-and-out, Garnet Valley comes out throwing. After a long completion earlier in the drive, quarterback Luke O'Donoghue throws a nice 20-yard skinny post to put the Jags up 7-0. And now on the next Garnet Valley possession, O'Donoghue connects on another skinny post to number 4, Caden Kohler. This time was a 39-yard gain, and the Jags are back in business deep in Coatesville territory. One play later here, O'Donoghue runs a veer option keeper that appears to fool half the Coatesville defense. And just like that, it's 14-0 Garnet Valley, still early in the first. Jaguars tack on a field goal later in the first, and the score is now 17-0. Coatesville pulls to within 2 scores here as Nasir Jordan, you're going to see, bulldozes his way in from the 3. Garnet Valley tacks on a late field goal in the half, and the score is 20-6 at halftime, with Garnet Valley receiving the second half kickoff. The score remained 20-6 all the way into the fourth quarter, and this time Garnet's driving deep into Red Raider territory when Gavin Rosselli takes a quick pitch, like EJ discussed in the breakdown segment last week, and the score is now 27-6 Garnet Valley. Here's a positive clip for Coatesville in the ensuing possession. Nasir Jordan's going to take the handoff here, and he takes an outside zone 53 yards to the house. A great run with some great blocking. Both teams would add on one more score, and Garnet Valley proved to be too much for Coatesville to overcome the first quarter start. Jags win 34-19. Welcome back, Chester County football fans, to ChesCo Gridiron Insiders. We're here today with Jeff Martin, the head football coach at Great Valley High School. Jeff, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Jeff, coming into the season after you spent summer camp and the scrimmage, what do you feel the strength of your team is right now?
One thing I like about this group is I really like the vibe of the group. It's very positive. Our guys are really locked in and really focused.
Okay.
They're ready to go.
Okay. How about does the team have a personality yet? You know how some teams develop that over the course of the season. Does it have one yet?
Well, I mean, I think this year we have a lot of young guys that are going to start for the first time. But from what I've seen so far, there's definitely a good amount of competitiveness amongst each other. And you know, they get together by themselves to do things outside of like when we're coaching them and things like that. They're just constantly striving to get better.
Oh, that's great. Your quarterback, Johnny Campbell, he studied behind Braden Malia, who was very successful for you.
Yeah.
Talk about Johnny a little bit. What's he bring to the field?
So Johnny is you know, a good example of what I just described. He's very competitive. He's very positive. You know, playing behind Braden for the last 3 years, he got to see how the offense is run. So I think he has a lot of comfortability with the offense.
Okay.
He's very athletic. He can make a lot of things happen with his feet, but he also has a really good, strong arm. So he's going to make our offense what it is.
Okay. And the last question for you, Jeff. You start off the season with Oxford. How important is it to get off to a fast start? Because you have Sun Valley next week, and you'll be favored in that football game, obviously, even though anything can happen. How important is it to get out early, to get a win?
Well, the first game is always the most important one. I think pretty much every coach will tell you that one, right? Okay. You know, Oxford being the first, we're familiar with them, but we usually don't play them the first game of the year. So we know what they do, but obviously they can change from year to year. We just got to, being at home, we got to get up on them early, not let them hang around, and you know, hopefully the game goes in our direction.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Jeff Martin, Great Valley High School. And I'd like to say these beautiful T-shirts that they've given us from Custom Creations in the King of Prussia Mall. Okay, football fans, welcome back. We're here for the second part of our interview. We're with Mike Means, the head football coach at Oxford High School. He was nice enough to talk to us before the Great Valley game here. Mike, how are you?
Great.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Mike, you went through summer camp, you had a scrimmage. Is there one thing you can feel confident about in your team, like one facet of their game that you're really happy with right now?
Yeah, I think that after seeing us for an entire offseason, the experience of the offensive line and the physicality that we play with our front five, but our tight ends and H's too.
Okay.
That's what we're going to hang our hat on. Having a senior quarterback is nice, but it's gonna be up to the guys up front on both sides of the ball, and we have most of the guys back from last year, so we feel good about hanging our game plan both sides of the ball on those guys.
Okay, well, you talk about physicality. That leads to my next question. Does this team have a personality yet, Mike? You know how teams develop that? Some teams are dedicated to a senior class, but does this team have an edge yet?
Yeah, it's a good edge. The edge that they have right now, especially like I said with the guys up front, is they really have fun playing together, and they really like each other. Even though we got guys from different classes, because it's a senior, 3 juniors, and a sophomore, they all had starting experience last year. So they've kind of bonded together through going through tough times last year against good teams as all first-year starters, except for our senior this year. And they bonded through that. So this year it's been way more fun because they feel that much more comfortable in our scheme and all that stuff.
Okay.
So.
And you didn't have school today, right?
I did, but the kids
didn't.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to ask you. The first game of the year is a little different. Do you worry about the kids not being in a routine, you know, where they may be the third week in October where they're in the classroom?
Yes, we hate it. We hate it. This week and next week with Labor Day, And I'm sure other coaches can attest. Like I want the kids doing the same thing every single day.
Right.
So getting them out of routine where they've been waking up early to go to practice, and we would like to keep them on that exact same thing. So we talked to them a lot this week about what they need to do on Friday, what they need to do on Wednesday and Thursday to make sure their bodies are ready and they're prepared. But they're also 16, 17-year-old kids. Right. So, you know, you're flipping a coin on how many of them actually got up at 9 a.m. this morning and didn't sleep till noon and all that stuff. So we try to control it as best we can.
Last question. You start off here with Great Valley, and then you go into a home game with Northern Lebanon that you'd be favored in. I mean, anything can happen in a football game, but you'll be the favorite there. How important is it to get this win tonight, get off to a fast start?
It's huge. It's huge, not only because it's a 5A rival, and it's nice that we got to schedule this game because we've always played this game against Great Valley, even though it's an out-of-conference opponent for us now. But it's also huge in all the confidence that's been built up through the offseason and seeing if we are who we think that we can be, you know, and that we answer those questions. So I'm confident in our kids. You know, Great Valley is going to give us a great test tonight, but I'm confident in our kids and how they're going to come out.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's Mike Means from Oxford High School.
Tom Wolf from Chester County Gridiron Insiders here breaking down Great Valley's defense. Great Valley is led by head coach Jeff Martin, who calls the defense for the Patriots. So this is against Oxford from Friday night. Want to pay particular attention in this clip to number 8, senior Cole Callahan, defensive leader for Great Valley. He does a real nice job on this particular play. Oxford's trying to run a reverse. He stays home, fights outside pressure, and as we watch this clip, you'll see he does a real good job and makes a nice open field tackle. Keeps his outside arm free and brings down the ball carrier. Next clip, we have a 3rd and long here. Great Valley's in a 4-man front, 3 linebackers, 1, 2, 3, 4 defensive backs. Pay particular attention to number 3, sophomore Ty Callahan, Cole's younger brother, and number 12, senior A.J. Diamond. They do a real nice job reading this rocket screen or slip screen by Oxford. The younger Callahan maintains outside leverage, and it allows A.J. Diamond to run the alley and make a nice tackle for loss. So we'll let this run. Here comes a rocket screen. There's Callahan, A.J. Diamond. Great form tackle, driving him back, fired up the Great Valley sideline. Next clip. Let's take a look at Oxford's going to try a design quarterback run. Real nice job here by outside linebacker number 6, senior Ryan Rossi. He sees the play, strings it outside, and number 5, junior defensive back Luke Helmley runs the alley and makes a real nice play, forcing it back inside for his teammates. So there's Helmley. He's going to run that alley. Real good job by number 6, Rossi, maintaining outside leverage. Here comes Helmley, and he forces a quarterback back inside where Rossi and his teammates can make a gang tackle for a loss. Next clip we'll look at. Another design quarterback run by Oxford. This time, I want to take a look at 2 of the 3 defensive linemen for Great Valley. Number 10, senior Joseph Newell on the end here, and then number 56, junior Nick Myers. They do a good job of maintaining the line of scrimmage, not getting pushed back, and they force the quarterback who wants to run to the right. He has to go back to the left, and you'll see again the defensive leader, Cole Callahan, make the play for a loss. So 56 and number 10, Newell and Myers. Good job standing up their offensive linemen. Quarterback has nowhere to go. He tries to force or escape out the backside there. And there's Callahan to bring him down for a loss. Last clip we'll look at. 3rd and long, another 4-man front, and another design slip screen or rocket screen to the left this time by Oxford. Good job here. Just good team defense all around. Great pursuit to the play. The Oxford receiver has nowhere to go with the ball, so he tries to reverse all the way around, but Great Valley uses the sideline real well, contains him for no gain. So we'll let this clip run. You can see the pursuit. They recognize screen. Good pursuit angles here by Great Valley, forcing everything to come back inside. The receiver for Oxford tries to make something out of nothing. But the Great Valley defense won't have any of it. Senior Sam Snyder, number 26, you can see comes around with pursuit. And again, number 5, Luke Helmley, makes a nice play here. So that's a look at Great Valley's defense. Again, led by head coach Jeff Martin. Real nice job in the victory over Oxford Friday night. Tom Wolf back to take a look at Oxford's defense against Great Valley. Same game that we broke down earlier, but this time we'll look at the Oxford defense led by defensive coordinator Joe Pearson. Now, Oxford will run what we call a 3-3 stack. You got 3 down linemen, and then you have 3 linebackers. 1, 2, and 3. 5 defensive backs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the 3-3 stack it's a multiple defense, gives you multiple looks, designed to muddy up the blocking assignments by the offense and to really give the quarterback a tough look at his reads. So that's the reason why I think they're going to this 3-3 stack. This first play, you got a run-heavy formation by Great Valley, double tight, 3 backs in the backfield along with the quarterback. So Oxford decides that they're going to bring all 3 linebackers. So we'll let this run, and we'll see how Oxford's defense really attacks this run-heavy formation. 3 linebackers come, and there's really nowhere for this Great Valley running back to go. So it's a good job of contained there and a good job shutting down Great Valley's running game early. Next clip. Good penetration here by number 3, defensive end Edson. And what could have been a big play here to the right, it's just an off-tackle play, but Edson knifes underneath the down block and stops his play for a loss. As we let the clip run, you'll see there's going to be a nice hole out here that if the Great Valley running back gets to it, he can bounce outside for a big gain. But Edson fights through his block and makes a nice defensive play for the Oxford defense. So you'll see him getting pressure underneath there, getting underneath. And you can see right before the tackle how the hole's opening up here. And if Edson doesn't make this play, that Great Valley running back is out the door. So good job by Edson, backside penetration. Next clip. Again, 3-3 stack, your 3 down linemen, your 3 linebackers right here. I want to take a look at number 40 in the middle, the Mike linebacker, sophomore Braden Hunt. Does a great run read, and he forces the Great Valley runner who's going to go to his right, forces him to bounce outside, and you'll see number 9, junior Jalen McClain, does a real good job running the alley and makes a big stick on the Oxford sideline. So we'll let this run. You see Hunt's unblocked. He reads run right away, does a good job getting downhill, and then here comes McClain with a real head snapper of a tackle. Good job by Hunt to force it wide, and a good job by his teammate McClain to clean it up. Next clip we'll take a look at. Again, 3-3 stack. Now you have your outside linebacker up top here. It looks like he's going to rush. Great Valley's going to run outside zone to the left here. And again, Edson does a good job here of fighting pressure, maintaining outside leverage, forces a play outside. And again, number 9, Jalen McClain does a real good job upending the Great Valley running back for no gain. So we'll let this run. Edson forces it outside. And you'll see McClain really flies up here. Good tackle. Good pursuit also by the Oxford defense. So if McClain doesn't make the play, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Oxford guys in the picture ready to make the play. Good pursuit there by the Oxford defense. Last clip we'll look at. That's 3-3 stack. Good job by the defensive line here. Just holding their ground and really forcing Great Valley, who's trying to run the clock out. Great Valley running back has nowhere to go, and the Hornets defense really swarms to the ball here. So, again, good pressure by this Oxford interior defensive line. Nowhere for them to go, and you'll see a number of Oxford defenders coming in on the tackle. So that's just a quick look at Oxford's defense, again, led by defense coordinator Joe Pearson.
Thanks, Tom. That was a great job of breaking down the defenses from last Friday night's showdown. Let's take a moment to hear from our sponsor at Studio One. Highlights of the scrimmages are brought to you by Studio One, the home of ChesCo Gridiron Insiders for our inaugural season. Studio One also houses Sports Vault. Sports Vault is your premium provider of sports-related autographed and non-autographed merchandise. Sports Vault is the leader in licensed sports memorabilia, novelties, trading cards, and custom framing. Sports Vault is located at 520 East Lancaster Avenue in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. All right, what I'd like to do next is take a look at the Oxford running game concepts because I really believe that's what makes them go. I think as the year goes on, Coach Means will add some RPOs, which are run-pass options, to go along with the run game. All right, first play of the game. I think Oxford game planned here for number 8, Cole Calhoun. You see a defensive end, and he's a game changer. So they line up with trips away, okay, and they run a split zone right at him. So it's not a bad concept here. It makes it look like, that they're going to run to the trip side, and what they do is they're going to wind up bringing motion back, and then they wind up bringing the wing right across or the slot across to kick out Calhoun. Okay, and then number 7, Joel McLean, gets a real nice run there, okay, for 13 yards. All right, so the second play that I want to take a look at, okay, Oxford likes to run a quarterback zone read. So he gets the option of whether he's going to hand the ball off or whether he's going to pull it. Now, it looks to me like Oxford caught Great Valley in a blitz here. Okay, so what you want to do is take a look at these two. The inside backer and the outside backer are going to blitz to the side of trips. Okay, but when they do that, one of the things you can't get is you can't get pinned in. Okay, Aiden Kane does a great job of pulling the ball, and he winds up for a 7-8 yard gain there. So that's a nice job there. Now, Oxford comes back again, and they have trips into the boundary. Okay. And they call it fib because it's trips into the boundary. All right, they're going to add motion to balance up the formation, and they're going to run what's an ISO lead down, basically like an ISO lead down, and they're going to wind up kicking again back and blocking number 8, Cole Callahan again. Right there, kicks him out. All right, if somebody hadn't leaked through, that might have been a big gainer for Oxford. All right, now, another series. This is a series later in the game. Oxford's now in the pistol, and they still give you that trips to the boundary, or it's not really the boundary since the ball's in the middle of the field with the tight end, okay, to the wide side of the field, and that's where Cole Calhoun is. Now, Oxford does a great job here. It looks like Garnet Valley, or Great Valley, I apologize, might be in some sort of nickel here, okay, because there only seems to be one linebacker kind of in the box, okay, like definitively in the box. So we're going to get jet sweep motion here, all right, in which these two, the outside nickel backer in the corner look like they're destined to come up and set an edge against the jet, all right. Cole Calhoun also is in line to attack the jet. The only problem is you only have one linebacker in the middle of the field, and you have what looks to be a rolled down safety. So if some of these linemen can get to the back, and that's exactly what happens, okay, turns out to be a QB power. And Aiden Kane makes a nice cut, and he's off to the right. If we could get one more block there by the wide receiver, he's able to stalk block a little bit better on the outside. That's probably going to be a touchdown. So look for Oxford to run that play more this week. Okay. All right. The next two plays I want to look at, okay, so now we have a balance. We have a divide. We have a tight end and a wing to one side, and we have the two slots to the Oxford sideline. This play is a staple of Oxford's offense as well. These are wing counters. So they're going to take the guard and the wing from the opposite side of the formation, and you're going to wind up kicking out the other edge with number 54, and 18 is going to lead up in there. Now, number 7, Joel McLean, makes a really good cut here, and he's off to the races. He's going to be a game changer for Oxford this year. Look for him to score, I would say, double-digit touchdowns this year. All right. Now we come back. This is later in the second half. All right. It's looks to be almost a similar formation, but now, no, you have Trey. So you have a tight end, a wing, okay, and then a wide receiver, and then only one receiver over here. So it's a little bit of a different formation, but it's going to be the same play. Okay, we get the kick out block here. We get the wing back sealing the inside, and watch what number 7, Joel McLean, does. Again, he's out. Okay, that's going to be another touchdown for him. So that's pretty much what you can expect from the Oxford offense this week going up against Northern Lebanon. All right. What I'd like to do next then is take a look, switch sides of the ball, take a look at Great Valley. Okay. Great Valley opens up with an empty set and quads open. So it's 4 guys to one side, as you can see. Okay. And then 1 guy to the opposite side. Now, let's take a look at how Oxford lines up to this. The Great Valley offensive coordinator, Glenn Hughes, either saw something on last Saturday's scrimmage film or he knew something from past years playing Oxford to come out in an empty quads formation like this. I think he knows it was based on film study. It's a numbers game. So look at Great Valley in the clip. Okay, they have 4 receivers up here. And look at Oxford. They only have 3 defenders there. So if you can throw a bubble screen, which is exactly what's going to happen, and you can get 3 guys to block 3 guys, you're going to have something that looks like this. So if I were an Oxford, and this probably is what coach meant for them to do. This is obviously the first defensive play of the game. I'm sure you're not expecting a team to come out and empty and run the first play of the game. They didn't show it last week in the scrimmage. Okay, so this might have been a misalignment. I don't know. I think you have to move, a safety out to the middle of the field. I know you're going to leave your corner here. And you got to bump somebody over here. You just have to, because it's right now, Great Valley has leverage on Oxford, and let's see what happens when you get Legend. Here's a nice, easy pitch and catch. We get 2 blocks. There probably might have been a hold there, but that's going to be a touchdown. And I think they did catch the hold because that play was called back, but still a great concept by Great Valley. All right. The next play I'd like to show you is something that's kind of very similar. All right. So we have quads, but it's like a quad stack. Okay. And, we have 4 receivers over here. Now, I think this guy was supposed to be on the line of scrimmage because you don't have a receiver over here because you have a guy in the backfield now. It's not empty. So technically this is an illegal formation and the referee sees it right away. But if they would have lined up correctly, this is going to be a good play from what I said. You have 2 guys over here that are now responsible, okay, for the running back. See, there's the penalty, right, that I said? All right. I think you have to treat this the way at Coatesville we used to treat Downingtown West when they would do this. When they get, 4 receivers to a side, you really don't have much. You really have a corner there. He should be able to take the back if the back goes out of the backfield. But you got to start pushing, like this guy would have the flat or he'd have the deep third. He's going to have the deep middle. Watch what happens when these guys run the patterns. Okay, so right now, somebody has to take this middle guy here. All right, this guy, nobody really was responsible for him. And then you have somebody running a deep. All right, those guys are wide open. Okay, the quarterback doesn't really see it right away, but this is going to lead to danger later in the game. Okay, as they probably had multiple guys open. One more play here that we want to look at is it's a 3-by-1 set. Okay, and the fourth guy is in the backfield. So watch what happens here when the back goes in motion. Again, right now I think Oxford's okay the way they're aligned to this, but watch what happens when the back goes in motion. There really is no adjustment, and it does look like these backers are showing blitz. Now, if they blitz, you have 4 Great Valley receivers to this side of the field, and you only have 3 guys to cover them. I think this is the end. He's going to peel off. But again, it's very similar to the concept I showed you earlier. 71's responsible for the back. If the ball was thrown right now, I don't have a lot of confidence that he can cover him. Okay, number 12 is breaking across the middle on a drag. He's wide open, but number 5 is the guy you want going right down the post. And with this safety in his back pedal to this side of the field, he's not going to be able to keep up with him. And it's a nice, easy pitch and catch for a score here. So Great Valley did a really nice job. I think you'll continue to see that this week, all right, in their matchup. Let's jump back to Tom. All right, we're now moving to the pick portion of our show. We're going to make predictions on Week 1 games. And first, I'd like to start with the unanimous pick. So Avongrove will be playing Penwood this week. All 3 of us like Avongrove to move to 2-0 on the season. Oxford will be playing North Lebanon. We think Oxford's going to rebound for their first home game of the year and best North Lebanon. We also like Ruston to pretty much continue what they did last week. They scored on their first 4 possessions and totaled 333 yards and only gave up 97 yards on the game. Great Valley coming off of a very impressive win over Oxford, as we mentioned in our breakdown segment. We like them to beat Sun Valley as well and move to 2-0 on the year. And then finally, Kennett opens up after only scrimmaging St. Mark's last week with Elizabethtown. Elizabethtown last week had a difficult time with Calico, who is a Veer triple option team, so it's understandable why they might have a hard time with that. But still, we do like Kennett to win that game. So Kennett should move to 1-0 on the year. We also like Shanahan to take, School of the Future. And Pete, you have an interesting situation that occurred last week in the Shanahan game, if you'd like to share it with the public.
Yeah, Shanahan played Mastbaum High School from the Philadelphia Public League, and Mastbaum showed up with just 15 players due to a plethora of problems. And the game was played without kickoffs or punts. The ball was just put at the 30-yard line after scores. Shanahan won the game 35-0, but a little weird situation there.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy. All right, the next segment of our show, we'd like to go to the 6 teams, or the 6 games that, are going to be a little bit more contested. But first, let's hear from our sponsor, the PA Rebels. If you're looking for a travel baseball program that is competitive but focuses on player development, please check out the PA Rebels program out of Westchester, Pennsylvania. Their development program has led to over 45 players gain college baseball opportunities over the past 4 years. All right, before we move into the 6 games that we're going to have a little discussion about, let's kind of take a quick look at the records from last week's pick segment. I know I was at the Downingtown East North Penn game, and I'm thinking to myself, I better retire from picking already. I didn't look like things were going to go too well. However, all of us finished at 6-3. I know I lost the Downingtown East game, and so did Tom. Pete was the only one that was on North Penn. And I know that I had Upper Darby. I think Tom had Upper Darby as well.
Yep.
And then
Henderson.
Pete, Henderson. And then I think all of us lost the Coatesville game as Coatesville fell to Garnet Valley. So in saying that, we're all 6-3. We're all even, tied for first and tied for last. But let's move on and let's take a look. Let's start with Downingtown East hosting Toms River North. Tom, we'll start with you. What do you think?
Downingtown East played really well last week, EJ. 10 new starters on offense, 10 new starters on defense. And they acquitted themselves very well, I thought. They were in the game. They lost 28-25. They had a couple chances to win that game. I thought the first-time players got their feet wet, and they did a good job. A lot to build on for Downingtown East, even with a loss. I know Coach Matta hates losing, but they did a really nice job traveling up to Lansdale and playing a really good North Penn team. This week, I'd like them to rebound and win their home opener against Toms River North. Toms River North is the one of the defending New Jersey State champions. They lost a lot last year, but talking to the Downingtown East coaches who've got film on them, they say they're loaded for bear. They got an All-American tackle. Coach Bryce Blatt, the defensive coordinator, describes their skill guys as a 4x100 relay team.
Ooh.
So they're going to have their work cut out for them. But I that being said, I still like Downingtown East to win their home opener.
I was at the North Penn Downingtown East game, and I was very impressed with Downingtown East. I thought they played very well. I thought Mason Ippolito did a great job throwing 3 touchdown passes. However, the difference in the game was the North Penn quarterback. He really played very well. When they needed a play, he made the play, and I think that was the difference in the game. In saying that, I think I'm going to go the other way. I think I'm going to take Toms River North. They're a very good team. I think Downingtown East is going to continue to get better. But believe it or not, I think they might start off 0-2 this year and then maybe catch a wave right after that. Pete, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's hard for me to picture Downingtown East going 0-2 because they're traditionally such a strong season opening team. And they played well enough to win at North Penn, and I know they feel they probably should have won that game. I'm going to go with the Cougars.
All right, our next game, it's a featured game. There's I don't want to call it a tournament, but it's like a tournament-like setting all weekend down in Salesianum in Delaware. So Downingtown West will be traveling to Salesianum to play Smyrna, Delaware, who is typically a powerhouse in Delaware. Pete, what do you think?
I think Downingtown West goes down there and wins. It's a tough place. Always when you go to Delaware, it's a little tough with the officials and other things. A lot of our teams have had problems over the years down there. But, they ran the ball for 341 yards last week against Abraham Lincoln High School, who's not a bad football team. I like Downingtown West to do the same thing Friday night.
Tom?
I agree with Pete. You go down to Delaware and EJ, you mentioned this before. You get phantom flags, touchdowns called back. Things like that happen down in Delaware. But I was very impressed with Downingtown West run game. I think offensive coordinator Chris Olson is going to open up the passing attack a little bit more this week. And I look for Downingtown West to move to 2-0.
All right. Because of spending time in Delaware and playing those games and remembering painlessly what they were like, I'm going to go with Smyrna. They are a power in Delaware. And I got a feeling that when Pennsylvania teams travel to Delaware, you're playing more than 11 guys. So I am going to go with Smyrna in this game. All right. Let's go Henderson versus Hatboro Horsham. All right. Henderson, interesting story. We have another interesting story in development to say. So Henderson played last week. They played Upper Darby, and I believe the week before Bishop Shanahan scrimmaged Upper Darby. However, somehow, for some reason or not, there was no actual footage of the scrimmage. So neither Henderson got tape of Upper Darby, and therefore also Upper Darby never got tape of Henderson. So that's a really interesting game you're playing. As an ex-coordinator, Tom, and myself, I can't imagine getting ready for a team that I see no film. And subsequently, I think Henderson thought that they were going to get an inside, zone team, and they wound up getting a wing T team, which I know defensive coordinator Harry O'Neill was prepping for in the pregame, trying to get his troops ready to defend the wing T. Anyway, it's both teams were at the same disadvantage, so it wasn't like one team had an advantage over the other. It's just very unfortunate to have to coach a game like that. However, maybe it helps them this week because Hatboro Horsham is also a wing T team. So Henderson saw it last week. They'll get to see it again, make corrections. So hence, therefore, myself, I'm going to take Henderson over Hatboro Horsham at home. I'm going to take the Warriors at home this week to bounce back against Hatboro Horsham. Tom?
I really liked what Westchester Henderson did last week. Went down to Upper Darby, played a really talented Upper Darby team. And again, as you mentioned, EJ, they were a little bit behind the eight ball, not having any film and not knowing what to expect offensively. I really liked the way the quarterback and the running back ran the ball. Their offensive line did a nice job, especially in the second half, moving the ball. I look for Westchester Henderson to rebound and even the record of 1-1.
I like Westchester Henderson also, guys. Hatboro had a lot of trouble scoring last year. They got shut out 4 times last season, and the trend continued in their opening week 28-0 loss to Marple Newtown. I like Henderson's defense, and I think Harry O'Neill does a great job, and I like the Warriors here.
The next game we want to talk about is Westchester East versus Upper Moreland, okay? I believe Upper Moreland struggled a little bit last week, Pete, didn't they?
No, they actually blew Council Rock North out.
Council Rock North, I got you.
Really programmed down on the skids. They beat them 35-7.
Okay.
Yeah.
However, Westchester East looked pretty good. I think they beat Academy Park 20-0, and I think, honestly, in watching the game, I'm sure Coach Stephen could probably tell you it should have been worse, right? So Westchester East play a little bit better this week. I think they will get the upper hand on Upper Moreland. Pete?
Yeah, I like Westchester East. They got too much speed in the backfield to lose to Upper Moreland.
I'm going to go against the grain a little bit. Upper Moreland, beating a team like Council Rock North, even if they're down on their luck, they've been a traditional power, and Westchester East has to travel up to Upper Moreland, which it's not an easy drive. I look for Upper Moreland to beat Westchester East.
Lone Wolf. Something tells me Tom knows something he's not sharing,
right.
Unfortunately. So I sense I sense a skunk here. All right. Let's go and talk roughly about this is the Battle of the Beach in Ocean City. Malvern makes their first appearance on our show. They're going to take on LaSalle in Ocean City at 6 o'clock on Friday night. I myself am going to try and sneak down to that game if I can get down there. Should be a good one. LaSalle last week played a game and Malvern played a scrimmage. LaSalle traveled to Harrisburg on Saturday and hammered the Cougars. I think it was 38-7 or
45-7.
45-7. So that's an impressive win. I know Drew Gordon is now at the helm again. He took over. He used to be the offensive coordinator there when they had their glory years back in the early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
I know one of the things that LaSalle does well, their throwing game, right? Their quarterback threw for 5 touchdowns, is that LaSalle, when they see a one-high shell, Drew Gordon teaches them to look to one side of the field, and the receivers are going to run routes against a one-high shell. And when they get a 2-high shell, the quarterbacks are taught to look to the other side of the field and throw those route combinations. So that makes it very difficult on defenses. You better, basically be disguising your shells in the back, playing different coverage defenses, or else LaSalle's pretty much going to have a field day. Now, I'm sure, that Coach Joe Carr, the defensive coordinator at Malvern, the old Ruston defensive coordinator, is well aware of this, and I'm sure they're going to be doing a lot of practice this week, and he often plays multiple coverages. Tom, what are your thoughts?
I agree with that. Again, I have a lot of respect for Coach Carr coaching against him several times. Good scheme-wise, he always gets his players to play hard. EJ, you've seen Malvern several times this summer, and particularly their defensive line is loaded. They've got they're big up front, they're big, strong, and fast. I know LaSalle has a Division I quarterback, again, threw for 5 touchdowns, but it's hard to throw for a touchdown when you're on your back. And I think Malvern's defensive pressure will get to him down at the beach, and I look for Malvern to celebrate Labor Day on the beach with a win.
Yeah, I almost wonder if LaSalle tries to move to some kind of quit game to combat the defensive pressure that Malvern can put on them. Pete, what are your thoughts?
I go back and forth in this game. I love LaSalle, and now I'm switching to Malvern. The strength of the Malvern team is their front 7, and linebacker Jake Bauer is one of the best in Pennsylvania. And I think Malvern's going to win this game. I agree with Coach Wolf. I think they're going to put a lot of heat on a LaSalle quarterback.
I will also take Malvern, but it's going to be close. All right, finally, we'll end up with our Week 0 game of the week. It was our Week 0 team. Coatesville is taking on, and I don't how do I pronounce that team's name? I don't.
Canarsie.
So it's Coatesville. Canarsie will be traveling in from New York to play Coatesville. And I think the Red Raiders are going to get back on track this week. I know it's a tough drive. It's going to be close to 2 hours, maybe even more. And you're coming into the Ville to play, and those people do a heck of a job of supporting their teams. So there'll be a lot of people out that night, and I look for Coatesville to get back on track. Pete, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like Coatesville. They're going to feel good about themselves after this one. They need a good game where they can sort of roll the score up a little bit and flex their muscles. I like Coatesville here.
It is, however, another game where there's a local team, a Chester County team, that did not get film on the opponent. So the New York team, I'm not even sure they played a scrimmage. I thought that they did, but there is no film from this year, so there was no film exchange. So that could be interesting as well. Tom?
Film or no film, it's not going to matter. Coatesville's going to want to get that taste out of their mouth. They're very big, very talented, and I think, like Pete said, I think they're going to roll. I think Matt Ortega Jr. is going to have success early. They're going to lean on that offensive line and that penetrating defense, and I think they roll to an easy game.
Well, that wraps up week 1. Okay, you heard it right here from the ChesCo Gridiron Insiders. We'll see you next week.